Today, we're going to jump into a really remarkable true story. It's one of those tales that proves how just seeing a problem, one that maybe everyone else has learned to ignore, and taking one single direct action can literally change everything. And it all started right here, with this simple but honestly really profound question from a 5-year-old boy named Adi. He was just looking out at a construction site. He saw something that just didn't sit right with him, and he had to ask his mother, is it right? This question really gets to the very heart of this story. I mean, think about it. We all see things every day that don't feel quite right, but most of the time we just move on with our day. This is the story of what happens when someone, in this case, a little kid, absolutely refuses to do that. Okay, so let's set the scene. You've got Adi, he's just 5 years old, and he spots a small child sitting all by themselves on a busy, noisy, and pretty dangerous construction site. For him, the danger was just obvious, and it was totally unacceptable. Adi's mom confirmed all his fears. Yep, the child was breathing in dust all day, sitting out in the hot sun, with the constant risk of falling objects all around. But she also pointed out a really harsh reality. For that child's mother, who was a laborer on the site, there was probably no other option. But for Adi, well, that just wasn't a good enough answer. He couldn't let it go. He became totally determined to find someone, anyone, who could actually help and take responsibility for that kid's safety. And wow, was he persistent. He went straight to his school principal, who apparently gave him a lecture about karma and fate. He asked his teachers. He even asked the bus conductor. I mean, he was approaching every single adult he could think of. And you know what he heard back? From pretty much everyone, he got the exact same response. It's someone else's problem. Specifically, it's the government's job. It's that classic answer that just passes the buck, but doesn't actually solve a thing, right? Okay, so this is where the story takes a really cool turn. Instead of just giving up, Adi had this brilliant realization. If everyone kept saying it was the government's job, then, well, he just needed to find the right person in the government to talk to. Simple as that. And his mother, she showed him the way. She told him about a specific department, the Ministry of Women and Child Development. All of a sudden, the government wasn't this big, vague, faceless thing anymore. It was a specific office with a specific mission. So, following his mom's advice, he used the internet, but not for games or social media, right? He used it as a powerful tool. It let him slice right through all the red tape and find a direct line to the person who was actually in charge. And that brings us to the climax of the story. With a name and a phone number he found online, this 5-year-old boy picks up the phone. He just said it, plain and simple. "Hello, can I talk to the minister? My name is Adi, and I am 5 years old." And then he just explained what he saw. A little kid sitting in the dust and the sun. No complicated complaint form, no long email, just a direct, honest report from a concerned kid. And then things happened fast. I mean, astonishingly fast. Just 15 minutes after his call, he gets a call back from the head of an NGO. And then only 30 minutes after that, there's a team of officials literally knocking on his front door. So what was the result of this one phone call? It wasn't just some vague promise to look into it. No, this was immediate, tangible action that completely and utterly changed a child's life. And get this, it wasn't just one person who showed up. An entire team had been mobilized because of his call. A police inspector, an official from the very department he had called, and the head of an NGO that specializes in this exact situation. They were all there, at his house, ready to act. The difference is just, it's night and day. Before Adi's call, that child was alone in a really dangerous, unhealthy place. After the call, that same child was safe, being cared for by an NGO, and even getting meals so their mom could work without having to worry. It was a complete 180. So when you pull back, what's the big takeaway here? This whole story is just such a powerful lesson in the difference between being a passive observer and, being an active participant in your own community. Adi's mom, she really summed it up perfectly. So many of us, we see a problem and our first instinct is to post about it online, to complain, or as she puts it, to crib that the work is not happening. But Adi did something totally different. He didn't complain to the public. He reported the problem to the person whose job it was to fix it. And that leaves all of us with a really powerful question to think about. Audie proved that age is no barrier to making a real difference. His story kind of forces us to ask ourselves, what problems do we see every single day that we've just learned to ignore? And what could happen? What could you change if you just took that one extra step and made one direct call?